Hello, welcome to English for Everyone, where we practice real-life American English. Today we're going to learn to avoid some important mistakes, so let's get started. First, this is not correct.
Those are called weed. Those are weed because they're undesirable plants.
I cannot say those are called weed. Those are weed. If you say weed with no S, you're talking about marijuana. But if you put an S on it and you say weeds, then you're talking about unwanted plants. Plants that you don't want in your garden. Those are called weeds, not weed. Keep watching until the end of this video to get a full explanation and practice with both. First, let's practice with weeds. She's pulling weeds out of her garden. Use the prepositions out of. Pronunciation, out of. The T changes to a fast D. Out of. She's pulling weeds out of her garden. Out of her garden. We see the H in her is silent because it's not a stressed word. So you hear out of her, out of her. She's pulling weeds out of her garden. Let's practice. What is she doing? Is she pulling weeds out of her garden? That's right. She's pulling weeds out of her garden. This is also not correct.
And now I'm holding a green capsicum. So we have the yellow peppers, the green capsicums.
I cannot call these green capsicum or green capsicums. Not in America. In America, they're called green peppers or green bell peppers. If you go to a store and ask somebody for green capsicum or green capsicums, they won't know what you're talking about. We have to call these green peppers or green bell peppers. I love green peppers. Whenever I order pizza, I always ask for green peppers. I like green peppers on my pizza. What about you? Do you like green peppers on your pizza? Very good. This is also not correct.
Bell peppers are usually bitter. And by bitter, I mean they have strong flavor.
I cannot say they have strong flavor. Flavor in this case is countable. I have to use the article a. They have a strong flavor. Sometimes flavor is not countable. You can say it has flavor or it has a lot of flavor. In these cases, flavor is not countable. But if I use an adjective like strong, then it is countable and I have to use the article a. They have a strong flavor. So, she thinks that bell peppers, green bell peppers, have a strong flavor and they're bitter. Bitter describes food that tastes bad. Bitter. I don't think they're bitter. I think they taste good. I don't think they have a strong flavor. What about you? Let me know in the comments what you think about bell peppers, green bell peppers. Do you think they're bitter? Do you think they have a strong flavor? Let me know in the comments. Example, I think coffee has a strong flavor. I think coffee is a little bitter. What do you think? Do you think coffee has a strong flavor? Very good. Do you think coffee is a little bitter? Very good. This is also not correct.
Do you know what are olives?
I cannot say, do you know what are olives? If I say what are, that's a direct question. I'm switching to make a question structure. What are olives? That's a direct question. But if I say, do you know, then it's an indirect question. And for an indirect question, we switch it back to a positive structure. Positive structure, olives are. Example, olives are good, olives are bad. That's a positive structure. So I have to use this when I make an indirect question with do you know? So it should be, do you know what olives are? Question, do you know what olives are? And then you answer the question. Yes, I know what olives are. Again, you're not asking a question, so you have to use the positive structure. I know what olives are. Or if you say, I don't know. I don't know what olives are. We have to use a positive structure because you're not asking a question. So again, if you ask a question, do you know, this is called an indirect question. Because when you say, do you know, you're using a question structure. That means you cannot use a question structure for the second part. You can only use one question structure. That's the reason the second part is in a positive structure. Do you know what olives are? Let's practice. Do you know what olives are? Yes, I know what olives are. Let's practice the question. Ask me the question. Yes, I know what olives are. Another example. I'm looking for the keys. I'm looking for the car keys because I don't know where they are. I use a positive structure. I don't know where they are. I cannot say I don't know where are they. Where are they is a question structure. If I ask a direct question, I can say where are they? But if I say I don't know where they are. Or positive, I know where they are. I use a positive structure again. I know where they are. And if you use the indirect question, do you know? Again, use the positive structure. Do you know where they are? Do you know where the keys are? Do you know where the car keys are? Remember, after do you know, always use a positive structure for the second part. Let's practice. Do you know where the car keys are? That's right. I don't know where they are. Let's practice the question. Ask me the question. No, I don't know where the car keys are. Another example. Where is the bathroom? Where is the bathroom is a very common question, and it is a direct question. Where is the bathroom? But if I say, do you know, I have to use a positive structure for the second part. Do you know where the bathroom is? I cannot say, do you know where is the bathroom? This is not correct. I have to say, do you know where the bathroom is? I can say, I don't know. I don't know where the bathroom is. Again, I use a positive structure. Let's practice. Do you know where the bathroom is? Very good. I don't know where the bathroom is. Ask me the question. No, sorry, I don't know where the bathroom is. This is also not correct.
My favorite tent, the flowers tent.
I cannot say the flowers tent. In this case, the word flower is an adjective describing what kind of tent it is. So we have to eliminate the S. We do not use plural forms for an adjective. We have to use a singular form, flower. Flower tent. And remember, it's not taint, it's tent. Use the short S sound. Tent. Flower tent. Example, they sell flowers at the flower tent. Let's practice. What do they sell at the flower tent? That's right, they sell flowers at the flower tent. It makes sense. This is also not correct.
Watermelons are this big and rounded fruit.
I cannot describe watermelons and say they're rounded. So what's the difference between rounded and round? They're both adjectives. They both describe round things, but there's a difference. Watermelons are not rounded because they're not made round. Rounded describes something that is made round. Nobody made the watermelons round. They're just round. That's their shape. So we cannot use rounded in this case. If you describe cookies and they make the cookies round, you can say the cookies are rounded. But you cannot say the watermelon is rounded. The watermelon is round. Nobody made it that way. Nobody made it round. It's just round. So example, the cookies are rounded, or the cookies are round. You can use both. But the watermelon is round. That's the only adjective you can use to describe a watermelon, if it's round. Let's practice. Are the cookies rounded? That's right, the cookies are rounded, or round. They're both correct. What about the watermelon? Is it round? That's right, the watermelon is round. This is also not correct.
These orange flowers are called marigolds and are also gorgeous.
I cannot pronounce the word gorgeous. It's not gorgeous, it's gorgeous, gorgeous.
As a matter of fact, this is probably the most gorgeous hotel I've ever seen.
I think you just can't bear to let a gorgeous guy like me out of your sight.
Amy was gorgeous and so sexually advanced.
Oh, come on. You're gorgeous, and we're all gonna follow you.
Yeah, I mean, he's gorgeous and he's really nice
And he's really real. For an actor, anyway.
So the first syllable is the long or sound, like floor and more. Gore. Gorgeous. Just. The stress is on the first syllable. So don't say gorgeous. Make it shorter. Gorgeous. Gorgeous. Gorgeous means beautiful. Very, very pretty. And this dress is gorgeous. What do you think? Do you think the dress is gorgeous? That's right, the dress is gorgeous. So remember, adjectives ending in OUS are pronounced with a short sound at the end. Gorgeous, nervous, famous. We have a lot of adjectives with OUS at the end, and they're all pronounced the same with a short sound. Gorgeous, nervous, famous. This is also not correct.
Raspberry. Wow! Raspberry is a reddish pink fruit, and we can count them. We can say raspberries.
I cannot pronounce the word raspberries. Raspberries. First, the stress. We cannot put any stress on the third syllable. There's only one stress, it's on the first syllable. Raspberries. The second syllable is not it's air. Air like hair and chair. Raspberries.
I'm going to eat a strawberry and a raspberry at the same time.
Raspberry vodka.
May have the fruitcake and the cherry preserves, and there's a bottle of raspberry cordial on the shelf in the kitchen.
Only raspberry cordial, Mrs. Berry. Oh, raspberry cordial, right?
Strawberries, raspberries, sure.
And the chocolate mousse with raspberries and hazelnut macaroon.
Raspberries. Let's look at the word berry because it's very important. Hey, berry, very. They almost sound the same. The B makes a closed sound, berry, and the V makes a vibration sound, very. But the rest of the word is exactly the same. Berry, very. So let's talk about berries. We have strawberries, blueberries, cranberries, and raspberries. We have a lot of different kinds of berries, and they all have that same sound, air, like hair and chair. Bear. Berries. Now let's talk about raspberries. I don't really like raspberries, the fruit. 1 raspberry and 2 raspberries. They're not my favorite, but I love raspberry preserves. What are preserves? Well, you can say preserves, you can say jelly, you can say jam, and sometimes you can say marmalade. They're all kind of the same thing. There are differences between them, but I'm not sure what the differences are. All I know is I like preserves because it has more fruit in it. So I like raspberry preserves. We notice raspberry changes. There's no S because it's an adjective describing preserves. We cannot put the S there. Raspberry preserves. I love raspberry preserves. What about you? Do you like raspberry preserves? Very good. Today we're going to talk about the difference between weed or weeds. Which is correct? Let's get started. Well, sometimes you can say weed and sometimes you can say weeds. They're both correct, but there's a difference. First, let's talk about weed when it is countable. I can have 1 weed or 2 weeds. Example, there are a lot of weeds in the garden. This is grass that you don't want. Weeds. It's countable. Example, she's pulling weeds out of her garden. Let's practice. Is she pulling weeds out of the garden? That's right, she's pulling weeds out of the garden. But what if you talk about the grass or the plants that are in the ocean? It's called seaweed. Seaweed is not countable. I cannot say seaweeds. It's always in a singular form and it's not countable. Seaweed. There's a lot of seaweed in the ocean, and they use seaweed to make nori, and they use nori to make sushi. So there's seaweed in your sushi. Let's practice. Is there a lot of seaweed in the ocean? That's right, there's a lot of seaweed in the ocean. And our last example is weed. If you talk about marijuana, people say weed. and it is not countable. I cannot say one weed or two weeds. It's just weed. People smoke weed in California. It's legal to smoke weed in California. I don't smoke weed, but he smokes weed. Let's practice. Is it legal to smoke weed in California? That's right, it's legal to smoke weed in California. Let's practice. Is he smoking weed? That's right, he's smoking weed. So remember the three uses of weed. Weed can be countable if you're talking about a garden. There are a lot of weeds in a garden. But if you talk about seaweed or marijuana as weed, it's not countable. No S. Thank you for watching. And if you like this video, subscribe to our channel. Or if you want to become a member, click the join button. And we'll see you next time.